And a good Tuesday late morning. We are excited to have you in on this April 7th for lcpioneers.com live, presented by Pios Stream on facebook.com/lcpioneers. Appreciate you taking the time to join us. I am Ryan Goff. We've been doing this now for a week and moving into our second week. All 4 remaining days of this week, we will have shows as we will broadcast every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday from 11:30 till just before noon and give you a chance to stay connected with Lewis and Clark athletics, with the Lewis and Clark community, and have a chance to talk to you with guests from the student athlete world, coaches, people who are important to both of those groups on the Lewis and Clark College campus, even alumni. We'll talk more about those folks throughout the entire week, and we appreciate you joining us. I am Ryan Goff. We are going to be joined by our Career Center Director, Rocky Campbell. He is a former Lewis and Clark student athlete, and he will keep us in the loop of what the Career Center is doing, not only in general, and it's been a huge asset to the Lewis and Clark student base, student body for a very long time, but now especially in the world of remote learning and trying to be able to stay connected, especially with seniors and juniors as they move into post graduation and into internship opportunities. We'll talk to him about how the Career Center is doing its best to stay connected. Plus, he's an assistant coach for the tennis program, the program that he was a student athlete for earlier, and I can't wait to hear some of his stories as well about what it was like to be a Lewis and Clark student athlete. But as I mentioned, I'm Ryan Goff, the play-by-play voice, director of athletic communications for Lewis and Clark Athletics. We are located in Portland, Oregon, and compete in NCAA Division III in the Northwest Conference. So our conference includes schools throughout Northwest Oregon and throughout the state of Washington. You can connect with us online, LC Pioneers on Instagram and Twitter, as well as on our comments below, which we are watching if you have any questions either for us or for Rocky, and also sports at lclark.edu. We invite you to check out our website. That is where you can get the latest information about Lewis and Clark athletics, and that includes a campus tour. Right now, you can go online to lcpioneers.com, and right there, first thing you see, there will be a play button, and you can take a virtual tour of the Lewis and Clark College campus. Big thanks to our head cross country coach, Matthew Burrow, head volleyball coach, Emily Hayes. Right before everyone left campus, they were able to go around and tour the entire thing. It was an hour and a half live Facebook video that you can still watch at facebook.com/lcpioneers. But it was also neat because we were able to get a time lapse of it too. It takes about 6 minutes to watch, some great captioning of what it's like to be a student at Lewis and Clark. I invite you to check that out. It's right on the front page at lcpioneers.com. And then if you go to lcpioneers.com/YLC, that's slash Y, WHYLC, you can also get to the virtual visit page for Lewis and Clark College. And they've been doing a great job keeping people up to date, not only with the campus tour, but with the schedule of interactive events that they're having, including an Instagram Live coming up tomorrow at 3 o'clock. They'll do a campus tour with one of our students, Ben Shearer, and then they'll also have an Instagram Live Q&A session with some of our admissions counselors tomorrow at 4:30. So be sure to check that out. It's all available at lcpioneers.com/YLC. And last but not least, we talked about this a lot last week on the website, lcpioneers.com. More information about the brand new entrepreneurship, leadership, and innovation minor. It's another path for Lewis and Clark athletes and student body in general to have a chance to explore the entrepreneurship world that Lewis and Clark's been doing a great job of as of late with the Bates Center for Entrepreneurship and Leadership. And so, with all of that said, someone who has been vital to the Lewis and Clark community and helping connect graduates to careers, it's something that Lewis and Clark has done exceptionally well. We are proud to welcome in the director of the Career Center for Lewis and Clark. He is Rocky Campbell. Rocky, happy Tuesday to you. We appreciate you joining us on lcpioneers.com live. How has the last few weeks been treating you as you've kind of also made that shift to working remotely?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Ryan. I'm really excited to be here today. Um, the last couple of weeks, I think, have been a little bit strange for me too.
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine. I mean, this has been something that kind of came up quickly. As we all know, everyone had to make adjustments on the fly. And I'm just curious, when you look at the Career Center, what maybe were the top thing or two that you felt it was important for your organization, your department to do in order to keep everyone connected as they moved into the world of remote learning?
I think first and foremost, it was probably most important to make sure that our team was ready to meet the needs of students. And luckily enough, remote meetings and remote access are something that we offer in the Career Center on a regular basis, both to our alumni and students who aren't on campus, whether they're doing an overseas trip or during breaks. So my team was ready to do that. And then I think the next step for us is just making sure that students are aware of that and that they're ready and ready to engage, and that knowing that we're here for them whenever they're ready to engage.
Pioneers.com live. Uh, what is the Career Center's biggest role in general, even before everyone left campus? When you think about the best way to describe it to someone who is either already on the campus as a student or someone who's considering Lewis and Clark, what do you tell them?
Yeah, I think most people think of a career center sort of in that last step. I think you made an introduction of like, we're here to connect graduates with jobs. I think we take a much big and more holistic picture than that. Our job at the career center is help you understand your strengths, your interests, and your values, and how you can, once you identify those, match them to your goals and your dreams, and help you achieve those, whatever they are, after Lewis and Clark. And so I think when you take a little bit broader approach to understanding what the Career Center at Lewis and Clark does, I think it helps students engage early and often, and get excited about coming in and talking with us rather than being afraid of it, which I think sometimes students are.
One thing that I've always found really appealing about the Lewis and Clark Career Center is the career fair and the amount of opportunity to show exactly how you can implement that idea of Portland being so close to the Lewis and Clark College campus. What does the Career Center, uh, how has it impacted the students who attend and really get a chance to meet with potential employers or get internships in the city?
Yeah, I mean, I think our location is one of our greatest assets, probably only second to the awesome alumni that we have at Lewis and Clark. I think being so close to a city, as the crow flies, being 2 or 3 miles on the road, it's a little bit longer to downtown and to all of the employment centers here. It's an incredible opportunity on a campus like ours. Recruiters don't have to travel very far to come visit campus. We have over 8,000 alumni in the employment, area within about a 20-minute drive of Lewis and Clark, and so that means that they can come often, whether it's to career fairs, to our industry meet and greets, or to panels. It also means that our students can step off campus to go and meet with those same recruiters and alumni in their places of work, and those are opportunities that are very difficult to make if you're not close to an area like we are to Portland.
I was thinking about the Career Center and making that change to the Remote Learning Center, or to making the change because of remote learning. If you were to describe a best practice or two, something that upperclassmen right now could be taking advantage of that's super simple for them to do so,
Yeah.
what would that advice be?
So I mean, I think I have, I've had this question asked of me a lot. Whether it's in person by one person or in a couple of media interviews. I think there are sort of like 4 or 5 things that people can can really focus on, when you're trying to search in a difficult or challenging job market, wherever that might be. I think first of all is, it's frustrating, right? There is an emotional sort of trauma that we've all had. We've had all of our lives interrupted. Some of our best plans sometimes go to scrap because of something that none of us could control. And so I think recognizing that and trying to understand how that affects you is really an important thing. I think the next step is to focus on the basics more than ever. It's really important to make sure that your resume is ready, that you have all of your accomplishments and skills, and that they're shining through, and that your resume is like a great representation of who you are. I think it comes to networking. I think it's a scary word for people sometimes, but I think now more than ever, like your ability to network even virtually through informational interviews, talking with alumni, parents, friends, you know, former teammates, they have time too, and they need to connect with people. And I think that, we in the Career Center think informational interviewing, where you're interviewing them about what they do, what their job is like, what do they find helpful, is one of the most important assets that you can do. And I think right now is a time when a lot of people have the availability to do that, and I think it can be extremely valuable. And I think, using, maybe if you have a little bit of extra time, and that depends on the person, is maybe focusing on some learning or improving of your hard skills. There's an incredible amount of information that's available to you virtually through your libraries, about how to improve some of the hard skills, whether that's video editing and you're interested in that, or improving your Excel skills, whatever may be relevant to your pursuits. I think those are the sort of like four things that I really think people can focus on, that's really like in their control during times like these.
He's Rocky Campbell, the Career Center Director, joining us on lcpioneers.com live. We have shows all this week, Tuesday through Friday at 11:30. Invite you tomorrow to join us. We will have softball alumnus Maddie Lee, who's now a beat writer for the Oklahoma newspaper. She covers the NBA for the Oklahoma City Thunder. She was a softball alumnus, and she's scheduled to join us tomorrow. We'll talk more about the rest of our guests coming up this week in just a moment. Uh, One thing, Rocky, that's struck me about Lewis and Clark is its ability to connect students to jobs. And I think a stat from the class of 2018 really exemplified that. How well did that class find opportunities post graduation to start having impact on people?
Yeah, I mean, our that class had, they did a lot of really great work, and I think it really helped. Our career center, sort our new career center, launched kind of right when they came in, and they began engaging at an extremely high rate with us as soon as they hit campus. And I think the overall stat is, we have a stat of 97% career engagement, and that, how that gets measured is, 82% reported having full time jobs, another, over 12% heading on to continuing education. Another 2.5 to 3% are serving in sort of full time service based roles, whether that's as Fulbright scholars or research or members of the Peace Corps, and then a couple of other people joining the military and other governmental service organizations. It was an incredible stat for the college and the university, and it was also an incredible time to be able to sit and watch. The different things that students went on to achieve. Right. One of the great things about working in a Lewis and Clark Career Center is that, and at Lewis and Clark, I think, is that we have so many students with different interests, and they're very passionate about what they do. And there's such a diverse array of what people go into, whether that's, going to work at their dream job at Nike, or going to work at the foreign ministry in Spain, or going to work for BlackRock or Deloitte, or going to work for their not favorite nonprofit, or the Department of Justice, or going to work for Senator Jeff Merkley. I mean, I think there's some incredible things that our students go on to do, and it's just amazing to watch and to be a part of that process along the way.
Yeah, I mean, what you guys have been able to do to help connect people to the city of Portland, and as we've discussed, prior on the show, Lewis and Clark is a unique opportunity because it's the only Northwest Conference institution in a city of 500,000 or more. I mean, there's lots of great cities in the conference, but this is the one that has that connection. And even to the outdoor apparel, when you talk about,
Yeah.
or not outdoor apparel, but just apparel in general, with the Nikes and the Columbias of the world, right here in Portland, I think that it's a neat opportunity for people to get connected. Now, you are a former student athlete yourself and a member of the tennis team that now you're an assistant coach for. When you think back to your time as a student athlete at Lewis and Clark, what were some of the things that the college did well to prepare you for your future career and then eventually coming back to be our career center director?
That's a really good question. I think, I had a fabulous coach back then. His name was Gundars Tilmanis, Till. And, I think one of the things that Till really focused on for us that really helped and brought me is he sort of took that same sort of holistic approach to our participation in the athletics program that while it was important for us to work hard and to succeed on the court, he was just as probably more so interested in our success off the court and doing what he could to encourage that, making it flexible enough so that we could pursue those interests, and doing his own best job to sort of connect us to the resources we needed to do to be successful. I think even back then, and I may not have known it some of the time, we used to have these alumni matches, and we still have them now. And one of the first things he would do with that would make sure that every student on the court knew what every alumni who was there was doing right now, and doing his best to connect us to them. And so I was learning, back then, even when I didn't know it, sometimes that important part of like, what is that network, what are those groups of people that are out there that want to help you succeed. And it was extremely valuable for me, and I could see the development of myself as a human being through the lens of tennis, but also that I was much more than tennis. And that really excited me and made me passionate about a sport that I had lost a little bit of interest in before coming back to Lewis and Clark. And so I was probably maybe not I didn't have your standard path of being a student athlete. I had come to Lewis and Clark more for academics than for my athletics, and I was able to find a new passion and interest in athletics because of the approach that Till used with us.
He's Rocky Campbell, career center director for Lewis and Clark, joining us on lcpioneers.com live. Best story from your time as a Lewis and Clark student athlete?
Oh God, um, you know, best story. I'll say I think for me one of my the things that has stuck with me for the longest period of time is probably my last college match. And it's maybe not exactly the story that everybody thinks it is. We had made it back to conference championships. We were playing against UPS, and everything lined up. The match was tied. We come down, and everything came down to my final match. And it was myself. I was playing number one for Lewis and Clark against another senior at UPS. And it was tight. We'd had to stop the match two or three different times because of rain. Back then, not everybody had indoor facilities, and so we had actually traveled between locations to try to keep the match going. And I think I played some of my best tennis. He played some of his best tennis, and in the end, I didn't quite make it. Right? It was you sort of thought it was being set up for that dream scenario where you get to win and go off on your final match. But I knew when I walked off the court that I had given it my all, and that I had the support of my teammates, win or loss. They were just as excited afterwards for me, as was the other team, and the camaraderie that we displayed and the other coaches. And it was a hard match for me to get over, but I knew it also wasn't that hard because I had learned that it was about testing myself, and I had tested myself that day, and I'd fallen a little short. But it was to me one of the most meaningful matches that I had, even though it didn't look always like your classic victory.
We were going to have the big successful walk-off story, right?
Yeah,
Champions and
I wish I had. I didn't have as many of those as I would have liked, Ryan. But it felt like it was all setting up for that, and it just didn't make it. And I thought that maybe I would fall apart or that I would have that, but I realized that I was, one, stronger than that, and that two, I was really proud of what I had done that day. And it was really just a matter of a point or two, and I just happened to be a little bit unlucky. And how I responded to that, how my team responded to that, and how I think my opponents responded to that were just something that I was made all the difference for me.
Well, let's close with this thought then. I would like you to do two things in this answer. Please share some of Coach Jimmy Chow, the head coach for Lewis and Clark Tennis, just because I mean he's been around this program for a very long time now. I mean, we're talking about 2 decades worth. And since tennis was one of the seasons that was cut short, you have a little bit of a fall season, but by and large, the bulk is in the spring. What was it about this year's team that maybe you want people to know about, since we're not going to get to see them again?
Yeah, I think it was really sad that our season fell short, and we didn't get to do everything that we wanted to do. And I think what was hardest for Jimmy and for all of us was that we had an incredible group of players this year that had really dedicated themselves to improving themselves on the court and off the court and supporting each other through that, both on the men's and the women's teams. And on both teams, we had some phenomenal senior leadership that really focused on teaching like our first year students who what it meant to be a member of our program, and that meant that you worked hard on the court, that you worked hard off the court, that they supported them both while playing tennis, encouraging them, teaching the things that they had learned when they came in, but also watching them um, you know teach them and help them be supported off the court academically and pursuing their interests. And we have a great diversity in our team of what students are studying and interested in, and to seeing them help each other, and that sort of team that Jimmy has really built. I'm so proud of to be a part of that. Jimmy and I were teammates, and it's really exciting to see him lead that program to where we want to go. And I think the saddest part for us is we knew the results were coming. And we had a group of 3 seniors on our men's team, and 3 seniors on our women's team that had shown a lot of incredible growth over the summer and into the fall, and had some very significant victories heading into the main part of our conference schedule that we didn't really quite, we just got to start. And it's sort of sad not to see it, but I think they went out on some really proud notes. And I think they can take a lot of pride in what they did accomplish.
Rocky Campbell, former Lewis and Clark student athlete, and now the Career Center director at Lewis and Clark College. We appreciate you joining us on LC Pioneers Live. That was a lot of fun to hear those stories, and best of luck with probably your next of 400,000 Zoom meetings and such. I know you've been a busy guy.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Ryan. It's been great to talk to you today.
He's Rocky Campbell. He is the Career Center Director for Lewis and Clark College, joining us on lcpioneers.com live. Again, the goal of the show is to try to keep you connected to everyone from the Lewis and Clark athletics community and beyond. And we're excited as we'll have more of our guests this week. Scheduled tomorrow, we should talk to Maddie Lee. She is the former Lewis and Clark softball student athlete who's now the Oklahoma City Thunder beat writer for the Oklahoma newspaper in Oklahoma City. We'll talk to her not only about that career path. I mean, she went on to be a graduate student at Northwest University in their outstanding journalism program, but she also was right at the epicenter of the NBA canceling its season, or at the time, and still, I guess, technically postponing their season because of coronavirus. The game that she was at for the Oklahoma City Thunder, at least the game that she was covering, was canceled somewhat abruptly. So we'll talk to her about that experience. Kayla Valdez and Mel Ho'omanavanui from Lewis and Clark volleyball and football, respectively. They were both from Hawaii, and last weekend was supposed to be our annual luau from Hawaii Club. And the thing that club, and especially the organizers like Kayla and Mel, put so much work into. So we'll talk to them about not only their experience being Lewis and Clark student athletes, but certainly the disappointment, but the understanding of how much work goes into that event. And then on Friday, we're scheduled to talk to Morgan Taylor from women's track and field, as she was going to compete next Monday and Tuesday at the Northwest Conference Championships in the heptathlon. And of course, that won't happen now. But looking forward to hearing what's on tap for her future, and what some of her memories are from being a Lewis and Clark student athlete as well. So until we talk to you again tomorrow at 11:30, we're scheduled to talk to Maddie Lee. I'm Ryan Goff. Thanks for having fun with us. We will talk to you again soon. And a big thanks again to Rocky Campbell for joining us as well to give us a take on what things have been like for people who are off campus right now and trying to connect to the Career Center. You can find him online by going to lclark.edu and typing in Rocky Campbell, or Career Center in the search function, and they will get you connected to them. So until tomorrow, I'm Ryan Goff. Thanks for having fun. We'll talk to you again soon on lcpioneers.com live.
Lewis and Clark is amazing.
Beautiful campus, small classes.
When you really come here, you get this sense, the feeling that this is a place that you could spend 4 years.
I was so comfortable learning and growing here.
There's no ostentation, there's no pretension, no status. Everyone's just here to learn.
To this bustling metropolitan area.
The overseas program is giving you the opportunity to explore the world, go to places that you never thought of. Just come here, just visit this school, and you're gonna fall in love with it.
It's time to explore Lewis and Clark.
Hi, I'm Nick Lombardi. Something I've learned at Winterim this year is how to communicate a vision.
My biggest takeaway from Winterim is probably the networking. Getting to talk to everybody, connect with people for the future is one of the most valuable things, and I did Winterim last year, came back for more this year.
I think a way in which my liberal arts education has really helped me and my group formulate our ideas is that concept of critical thinking and having many different backgrounds. Me being an econ major and my two group mates being chemistry majors, we really get that well-rounded background, well-rounded ideas.
I think overall it's absolutely worth doing. You find yourself not only being more prepared for, say, this next semester, on top of being more prepared for life in general.